But before we start,
Okay.
if zombies like just popped out of nowhere, would you just go shoot yourself, or do you try to survive, or do you just like fuck it? The world's fucked up enough. Why the fuck is there zombies now, Cluck?
I feel like I would have to at least check up on my family, make sure people are okay, and then from there I can make a decision, right? Like if my dad's still willing to fight, I'm like, yo, I gotta defend him until he can't fight no more. You feel me? But like, I think it depends on the people I'm around.
That's true. Cause I guess I can't kill myself if Julie wants to be alive.
Yeah, so it's kind of just depends on the situation. I can't just
Mm.
abandon people, like
Like, come on, you wanna? You're gonna
yeah.
die. Come on,
But if,
come
but if
on.
everyone's willing to
There's two
go,
bullets in here.
you gonna start the video. Hey there, you guys. This is Christian.
What I'm saying is, I am not fighting that hard to survive. Life is not that important.
That voice is obviously Claudia. Um, so we recently played The Last of Us. Specifically, we played The Last of Us Remastered on the PlayStation 5, but it was remastered for PlayStation 4. Blah blah blah. Last of Us. This was the first time you've ever played The Last of Us. This was my first time since 2013 that I played The Last of Us. Overall, today in this video, we just want to review the game. Give us some thoughts about like the game playing currently, if you've never played the game, or if you think if you want to go back to the game, blah blah blah, etc. It's gonna be a very informal review, nothing too crazy. Um, First things, Claudia, going into The Last of Us, as someone who's never played The Last of Us, what were your thoughts?
Well, that's the story itself. I mean, it starts off with a pretty good story, I guess,
Yeah,
and I guess it's what like
draws you in.
makes you want to play the game because it makes you curious, like oh,
What's
like
gonna
what's
happen?
gonna happen, like what's
Yeah.
going on, you know? Um,
Did you have any like? Because you've heard of the game prior to playing it, right?
yeah, and I always thought it sucked. I've always like, ugh, what crap are they talking about? What stupid shooting game are they talking about
Right.
now? Because I always thought it was zombie game, so like
You
you
imagine, yeah.
shoot, which kind of was a shooter a lot of times.
So, especially towards the end, it definitely picks up with the gun stuff.
Yeah, because I don't do shooting stuff. I don't
Anything
like
with
it.
a gun, you don't do.
Yeah, very, very anti guns right here
Um,
in
back
video
in
games,
back in
not in real life.
2013, back in 2013, I remember when the game came out. I was really, really big on The Walking Dead. So I remember playing this game, and for whatever reason in my head, I kept thinking they're just trying to make The Walking Dead. Like, there's too many things that felt like Walking Dead-ish.
Not even.
Now that I'm replaying it, I'll get into that. But this was back in 2013. For whatever reason, I felt like The Last of Us was a weaker version of The Walking Dead for me.
Mm.
I really like the story in general, but I remember not really vibing with the game. Like I remember after I beat the game because my brother forced me to play and beat the game. So I played and beat the game, and I was like, I'm never gonna play this again. Like like I have no reason to ever go back to this. Which brings us to us replaying this game now, and I kind of wanted to see your thoughts on the game. And as I was replaying the game, there's a lot of things that I felt like stuck out more to me that weren't really in my memory, if that makes sense. I felt like maybe at the time I wanted to hate it, so then I kind of just like ignored a lot of stuff. Yeah. So getting into the game now on this replay, your first impressions, you were really into the story.
Yeah. Yes.
Anything specific?
What do you mean? The fucking story. It's a good story. It's interesting. You want to play it.
Okay.
What else is there?
'Cause I feel like something they do really good is it has like these segments where like the gameplay kind of like clearly walks you towards your next like goal, and then throughout the walking there's like a lot of like story parts that go through like in the very first like world, right, when you're walking with Tess and you're kind of just walking through the city and you hear like conversations of people complaining about the government, or you see like people getting shot out the door, like stuff like that are like I think Naughty Dog does really good of like telling a story around you without you having to really like be affected by that story. You know what I'm saying? So that was like one of the things that when I was replaying the game right now that I guess I didn't really pay attention to the first time I played through, but that I appreciated this time. Um, Overall, I think the story this time, um, I think I could see how it's clearly not The Walking Dead. Like it's nothing like The Walking Dead at all. Um, I think it was just during the time it came out, there was a lot of zombie stuff going on because like Zombie Land and a lot of that stuff. Um, I guess was zombied out at the time. But I feel like it's been a long time since I've seen like anything zombie. Which is weird. Do we count these things as zombies, the clickers?
Well, because the thing is, they're not really zombies.
Yeah,
They're humans that get infected, right?
right.
So they have this disease, and then when they're screaming and stuff like that, they don't sound zombie. They sound very like human
Yeah.
or going through, I don't know, pain. Like it's very it's weird when you hear him screaming from the distance, and it sounds very like, oh my god, someone's in trouble.
Yeah, or even when you're beating them up, they like grunt like they're getting hurt, like they're beating up a
Yeah,
person.
so I'm like, oh, dang, you're like you didn't gotta make it that like.
And even when they turn full clicker, they don't feel zombie. They feel like a
No,
monster.
when they turned click, they became consumed by the disease, so they're like, I don't know. I see it more of like that stupid Pirates of the Caribbean shit where like they become part
Part
of
of
the
the
crew.
ship, part of the
Like
ship.
not even so, yeah, like that type. Like
Yeah,
it's not them being zombies, it's them
the
becoming
monster
whatever.
clickers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think in it's clearly zombie inspired, right? They clearly pull from like a lot of zombie stuff, but I think they do enough to separate it from anything zombie related. So I guess moving forward, we should probably just call them clickers. Um, that's what the game calls them at least. I think it's cool. I think the dynamic between Joel and Ellie, me going through it, knowing what the ending's gonna be, I felt like I was able like there's a lot of like I guess call outs to Joel being an asshole for me.
Yeah, that was very fucked up. The ending was very selfish.
Ooh. You think it's in line with Joel's character throughout the game? Like you think the ending makes sense with the character we've been playing as?
Well, the thing about people like Joe's characters, they're very like they don't talk, they don't share, they close off to themselves, whatever. So you don't really know them too well. And for Ellie's perspective, she was somebody who was saving her, right?
Yeah,
Or like, helping her, they're going across together, whatever the fuck.
right.
But at the end of the day, you see how everything that he did was for himself,
Yeah,
for like surviving or for whatever. He tried to like not think about his daughter because that's like hard for him to do.
right.
So, well, whatever. Anyways, the point about people like him that are like very closed off, you think that,
They're strong.
well, no, you give him like the benefit of the doubt because you kind of, they seem like an ass, but they don't talk a lot, so you don't hear their
Mm,
thoughts. So
okay.
you're like, oh, maybe he's not an asshole. Maybe it's just like he's been through a lot, right? So you don't really know what he's thinking because he's not communicating it. So you think like, oh, you don't ever think he's like a straight up an asshole,
Right, you give a
right?
lot of benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, but in when you see him beat up people or like when he's fighting, he very brutal. Like I'm gonna break your skull. Like that's a
Yeah,
very aggressive thing to you're trying to survive, not murder. So
right.
it's like
At what
on
point do
what
you draw
level?
the
Yeah,
line of like this is no longer surviving, now you're going above and beyond to like actively
yeah. He's always just only been trying to survive and not really anything else. So then when he met Ellie, what he gave him more of a reason to survive.
yeah.
So when he thought he was gonna lose her, he's like, no.
Nah, not today. Not
So he
today.
was like, fuck
Oh yeah, there's
everyone.
spoilers in this conversation.
Oh my god, it's been the game that's out 10 years.
Yeah, well, some people clearly haven't played it yet,
Well, that's
Claudia.
your own fucking fault. What the fuck?
Yeah, I think specifically when it comes to the ending of the game, I think it's interesting because I remember, or at least when I first played the game, I was thinking, oh, this does not feel like something Joel would have done, right? But replaying it now, like obviously, I think it very much fits who he is. Like he said, he's a very selfish character. He's someone who wants to like always do what's best for him. Specifically in this situation where like Ellie clearly agreed to go under the knife,
Yeah,
right?
he knew.
Yeah,
He knew that that's what she wanted. It's not like, oh, I wasn't sure what she wanted. I mean, he straight up lied to her afterwards. So he
yeah,
told her, and it was weird because they both knew they were lying.
yeah. It's like a quiet part no one's
Yeah,
talking about. But yeah, I just think like Joel definitely was just a very selfish person. Um, and I think what's weird is like how everyone kind of like tells you how selfish he is without
yeah,
ever like
like
saying
his
he's so
brother.
yeah, or Bill when he first runs into Bill. You
Yeah,
think like, Bill's clearly a crazy person, right? So you kind of be like, oh, let's not put too much weight into what he's saying. But a lot of him saying is like, oh, Joel needs me again, or Joel needs this for me, blah blah blah. Like clearly they have a history of Joel needing shit from
Like
him.
only being there
He
when
needs
you
something.
own something, you know.
Yeah, or like the whole Henry stuff. Like I think, like when the kid turned, right? Like there was like like a motion in the air, obviously, and everyone was very quick to like um hesitate to kill someone they just like traveled with. But Joel was very quick to like take his head off if need be, you know.
To be honest, as you should.
As you should. And this is the thing. I don't disagree with the person he was, right? But it's to the point where like, because if he was that person, he just dropped off Ellie. Forget Ellie. My mission is over. They would have maybe potentially have a cure, and then there would be no Last of Us 2. But the fact that he was not just selfish for like survival of everybody or anything, that it's just what he wants, not even just his survival, because his survival would have been better off if Ellie died and became a vaccine to
But
cure the
at that
world.
point, his survival didn't came anymore about being alive. His survival became about a mental state.
Yeah,
Because it's like, why am I even alive? What is it? It wasn't about being surviving, like as in living. Is well, okay. It was surviving as what's my purpose? What's my reason? Ellie
right.
became his reason to being alive. At the time where he was like, I'm just surviving to survive. He got reminded of his daughter. It
Right.
was like shit like that, like whatever.
So yeah, I think it's interesting because I think that asshole Joel is what we needed at the end, and then he showed himself to be a way bigger asshole than that asshole, right? Because I think throughout the story you can be like, okay, I can see why you're doing this. I could like when he's like torturing those people who kidnap Ellie. That's a very like me. I would never go to the like torture level. Like I would be like, let me like figure out what information they know. But he goes to a level of like tormenting them, and that was like a quick jump to like
But
tie him
everything
up and
he
torture
did
him.
kind of like had a reason. It was like an
100%
excuse,
in the
You
situation.
wanna like I don't know,
Yeah,
back it up. It's like, oh, okay, that's because of this. But if you think about it, like we said earlier, like, we wouldn't go to those extremes. Like, oh,
yeah, he jumps to quick extremes very, very quickly. And then it shows like at the end, now that I'm watching, I'm like, oh my God, you are a very like dark person in your head. And that goes back to what you said, like he's not saying the stuff that he's thinking in his head out loud. So it makes you wonder like how dark does his brain really go for
yeah.
him to do all that stuff?
Because one of the reasons why you think he's a good person deep down is because you don't know who he
Yeah.
is. He's not saying anything. So
So yeah, I think overall as a story, I think The Last of Us is probably one of the best stories in gaming. I think there's a lot of really cool like tricks that they're using where they're saying stuff or they're not saying stuff. I think all of it kind of backs up its like characters and its world that they're doing.
yeah, it was really cool too when Ellie was talking to the other girl, in the
Um,
beginning.
oh yeah, I forget her name. The one that like started the whole mission with
Yeah,
Tess. Wait, Tess.
Tess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
No, but when Joe and stuff were like we're trying to navigate and like find a way out or whatever, and they're just always talking in the background.
Yeah,
You always hear like a muffled conversation, but you the kid don't really hear it all.
yeah.
That was pretty interesting.
That
So
always kind of sucked because like there'd be like moments where like Sam, I believe his name was Henry's little brother, and Ellie would be like having fun or like doing something off the side, and
yeah, I was talking
I'm over here looking for like material and stuff, so I can't hear the conversation, but a part of me wants to just sit there and like listen to their conversation.
but they're talking about very kid stuff. So
Yeah, so it's like and yeah, like a lot of world building and character building that I think isn't like shoved in your face, you
it
know?
happens just realistically,
Yeah,
naturally.
naturally throughout the
Yeah.
world. So I think that stuff is really cool. Um, let's go into the gameplay. The gameplay. So this was always my contention with the game is I never liked actually playing the game. I think the game like combat feels iffy. Combat doesn't really feel too fun. And there's always these puzzles that don't really feel like puzzles. They kind of just feel like
Yeah,
something in your way.
I wanna say like the combat feels bulky and stuff like that. But it's like it's not like Joe's a fucking ninja who can just be like, So it's like so
Yeah,
you can expect it to feel smooth.
true.
But I wish kind that it was had like some type of dodge or
A pesh.
like some way to block. I don't know something. There's little
Yeah.
things that make it. I don't know. But the way that he fights does add a lot to the story
How
itself
aggressive he is.
because it shows very, very realistically how he would be fighting. And
Yeah.
so I don't know.
At a certain
It
point, make
makes
this.
sense
At
to
a
the
certain point, make
story.
this a game. At a certain point, it's a game. Let me roll. Let me guard.
Well, roll. What are you playing?
Yeah, I wish it could roll, or at least, like you said, like at least guard or something. I feel
No,
like I'm very
I
vulnerable
agree,
to
but I
hits.
understand why it doesn't have it.
Right.
But I also didn't really like the gameplay though. I don't
No,
really like.
there are cool set. Like I like the stealth areas, so I think those are pretty fun to kind of go through. But yeah, like the actual like like fighting people is just really weird. There is really cool boss missions. Like I like the boss with Ellie and the guy who's like trying to shoot her, like who's trying to rape her, you know?
Ew, wait, you're not gonna say the rape
Okay,
word.
sorry. I'll get that one out. The guy who's trying to like assault her and she's like trying to survive.
You
That
could just say
that was a
when
really
they
cool.
were inside of the burning building,
Well, oh
Ellie,
yeah,
and that.
when Ellie was inside the burning building with that creep, I really like that boss fight because I don't know, it highlights Ellie's like will to keep going and fight, but without like fully being like the capable person that a lot of other people in this world are. So I feel like that gameplay reflected a lot in the story, and I like those things, right? I don't like the like parts where I'm just kind of running through a burning town and then there's like a bunch of random people. Hey, we're gonna get them, and then it's like, I not again, you
Are
know.
you talking about fucking Resident Evil?
No, like there'd be like the guys in the tank who keep
Oh,
following us
oh.
for miles, have nothing else to do, and they
They
follow us
have
for.
nothing else to
I
do.
get it. It
You
makes sense.
murder their whole crew.
Fighting them was never fun. I didn't have fun fighting those people. Anytime where I'm like skulking through and I'm trying to like hide away from clickers, that's fun, right? But if it's like just like a whole bunch of people with guns that are trying to kill me, it wasn't that fun.
No, I didn't like aiming. You know how I don't play any shooter games, so
Yeah.
that was like
Oh yeah. And the game is designed for you not to have a lot of bullets, so like you gotta like make every bullet count and you
yeah. But
suck,
I
baby.
you're not gonna point and laugh. Like what the heck was that?
Oh
I
man.
don't play those games. I actively dislike them. Stay
Yeah.
away from them.
I think too like again just the puzzles. I hate the puzzles because I don't feel like they're ever like satisfying puzzles. I feel like they're just like
What would you say is a game with a satisfying puzzle? So I have an idea because
a
I don't
game
really
a game that you know with
see it
good
as a puzzle.
satisfying puzzles. I think Resident Evil 4 did pretty good satisfying puzzles where the puzzles never like stop you. Like I feel like if you're gonna be a puzzle game, sure, stop and do puzzles because that's the whole point of the game. But if you're like an action adventure game, or in this case, a survival horror game, I don't feel like the puzzle should actively stop you from enjoying the part of the game, right?
At what point was there a puzzle?
Anytime where like Ellie couldn't swim, so you have to go find like a piece of
Okay,
wood.
so that's what. Okay.
Yeah, and it is the same puzzle every time, right? Somewhere in this area, there's a piece of wood. Find that piece of wood, and then let Ellie jump on wood. You get what I'm saying? But not like that. But it was just never fun because I know exactly what this puzzle is every single time I run into it. You get what I'm saying? Versus
You
Resident Evil
said
4.
not like that. That's not even what I was
Oh,
laughing
okay.
at.
But Resident Evil 4 was like every single time it's a different puzzle. And it's not a super hard puzzle. All the things are right there, right? So there's like the part in Resident Evil 4 where we go in and there's a table. And we're like, why is there a bunch of tables of people sitting? Like, why are we able to sit down? And then we go and we see the picture and we got to go find the right. I'm like, okay, that was kind of fun. It wasn't like fun, like, yay, but it was fun, like, okay, I see what
We've
we're doing.
mentioned like three different games and two movies talking about. Aren't we reviewing
You said what's a
fucking
good
The
example?
Last
You
of
said
Us?
what's a good example of a puzzle in a
No,
game?
no, I
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
but
So
it
for
just
me,
reminded me of all the stuff we've referenced
oh yeah,
for
yeah.
no reason, like absolutely no reason.
No, I think it's relevant in this conversation at least.
I
Like,
don't know, scratch this one. We gotta remake a whole video now.
no.
We said rape. We talked about wood.
Oh my God. What is perfectly normal? Even though its gameplay isn't the best, I think its story is something that should be consumed. I think it's a good story that highlights a lot of, um, I think who people are, and I think that it's a game that if someone's been playing games for long enough, I think they should somewhere down the line touch The Last of Us. Um, so as much as we hate that it gets remade and remastered a lot, kind of like that it gets remade and remastered a lot.
Well, like they said,
They're gonna.
people keep buying it. That's up to them. If you keep buying the fucking game, they keep making money. Like, why not?
I think it keeps The Last of Us very fresh in everyone's mind, and I think as someone who's like played games for a while, I remember when The Last was released and it was such a groundbreaking game and everyone was like stunned. And then they remastered it and now they remade it. And there's a bunch of people who are playing the remake and never even heard of the game, because 10 years is a long time as much as we want to act like it hasn't. It's a long time. There's a lot of people who probably forgot because the way like the world works now is something comes out, it's a big thing, and we never talk about it again. It was a big thing that moment, and no one ever talks about it again. And The Last of Us stays in the conversation because I think it's an important story that I think kind of like a lot of people want to keep it around. So as much as the Naughty Dog keeps releasing this game, people keep buying it because I think people want to keep that story alive. If that makes sense. I don't know. For me, it's an important game, and I recommend
So,
people play
Last
it.
of Us 2, do you play that one?
I haven't played Last of Us 2, which is why we're doing this whole replay Last of Us 1. So when we hop into Last of Us 2, the remastered version, because we're part of the problem.
Well, to be fair, we have an excuse. We have never played it before.
Yeah,
You
that's what
know?
I'm saying. There's people who haven't played The Last of Us.
No, no, no. But I'm saying the original game is still good enough where you don't have to remake it yet.
Yeah,
But I feel like if they weren't remaking it, we wouldn't be playing it anyway.
true.
So, would we have played it if they weren't gonna remake it? Probably
Exactly.
fucking not.
Probably not.
We wouldn't even have thought about it. Because I don't fucking know that game. I've heard of Last of Us.
Hmm.
Like, I have a friend, she loves the fucking Last of Us. She's always talking about it. I'm like, you want another stupid shooting game?
You and
Like,
Taylor.
like I don't fucking listen. So, but then now that I see a trailer or see this or see that, then now you want to play it?
Yeah.
But I don't know.
You want to end this video out with favorite moment, most impactful moment, something like that. Something that you think of The Last of Us. I remember that moment.
Like, if somebody asked me about Last of Us and
Yeah,
what I think of first,
yeah. Like, what's the moment you think of in your head?
uh, I have a good memory.
For me, the opening, like the whole thing with like you play as Sarah and you like, for example, I never played the game right. I'm playing as Sarah. I think Sarah's the main character, and you kind of see Joel and Tommy running around you,
All right.
and then like you go to the get into the car and then like the bunch of the people in the world, like the whole it happening, the Last of Us moment of it happening. I think that is probably one of the most like things that stick in my head. And then Sarah dies at the end of the whole segment, and you're like, oh, what the hell did I just play?
I think one of my favorite parts was when Ellie was trying to save Joel because he was hurt, and
Hmm.
she was like out here like trying to hunt whatever.
Right.
Then she runs into this guy and his friend whatever.
History, yeah.
And from the very beginning, this guy is like very reasonable, very like nice, very like like hold up.
Yeah,
So it seems like like he's right. What he's saying is right,
right, yeah.
right? And it's like, and maybe we're the fucked up ones because we've been surrounded by we gotta
Kill
kill, right?
everybody, yeah.
But so you feel like, okay, maybe I should let my guard down, maybe I should chill, right? But the whole time it's like, nah, there's something
There's something
off.
off, yeah.
So you feel like it makes you feel like, maybe I'm wrong about this. Like he's just a regular guy, or maybe they're also just trying. They're trying to come into a like a bargain, a deal.
Yeah.
They're not trying to like screw you over, right? They're trying to, you know,
Yeah, yeah, work with you.
right. So then the whole time is that you see that, but you have this feeling
Yeah.
like nah.
But like I like how
What's up with you? And you don't find out until way later, like, cause what they fight together, they
they survive
survive,
together,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So you don't find out until
When the
later,
stuff
yeah.
happens, yeah. That
So
was a cool moment, yeah.
when you finally when he says that, that makes you be like, oh, I see. So I'm right.
Oh yeah.
That's when you don't think I didn't get surprised by it. I got like, oh, so okay,
This
so
is
this is what it. So this is what we're feeling. And so it was cool.
Yeah,
It was
that is a
cool
good
how they
moment.
can make you feel like that two things like, oh,
Right.
I
I
don't know.
like that. That is a good one. All right, anyways, we're gonna end the video there long enough. The Last of Us, playing it 2024. So the year we played it. We played it end of 2023, 2024, right? I think it's a game that really holds up. I think it's a game that
Well, yeah, it keeps getting remastered.
it's a game that if you're gonna play the remake, play the remake. Or play the remaster, play the remaster. Overall, someone needs to play this freaking game.
No.
I'm gonna end the video there because we've gone on too long. We're just circling back at this point.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
Like, dude, if you guys liked the video, please consider subscribing, as it does help us out tons. Want to say bye to the beautiful people?
Bye.